Dot with the super chat says someone on Reddit hinted at Nas and Primo dropping in a few weeks. It wouldn't surprise me, to be honest. You want to talk about this Nas album, or do you want to go to the AZ Math Hoffa?
I want to go to the AZ Math Hoffa, and at this point, we shouldn't be surprised when the Goat's dropping albums because
No,
the
he's
Goat
just giving us
doing Goats.
product, man. This would be his
Goat,
third album this year, and
there, Goat.
in years past, I would have said that's impossible, but I'm not surprised anymore.
Not
And I'm
really
not
greatest
saying
of
that in a
well,
bad way. I'm just saying that he's so far ahead of everybody right now that, it is what it is. Like, are you
uh,
surprised that Jordan had a 45-point game?
been saying this shit since '96, Mike. I'm glad everybody's caught up to me finally.
I'm going to be perfectly honest, man. There was a time period, and maybe when we even started this show, I was buying in to the mainstream media narratives about Nas and the whole takeover verse, or the inconsistencies and all of that. That was wrong, and he's proven it now. And
He
that
just needs
whole
to.
bad beat picker thing is an overblown narrative too.
I just want him to get a big old school chain with a big diamond encrusted platinum goat hanging from it, Mike, so everybody just knows what time it
I
is.
mean, he's the
Goat talk.
best. He's the best ever.
Yeah, it's the
Um,
best ever.
but speaking of the best ever, one of the moments in AZ's Mav Hoffa interview that stood out to me was him talking about how he got on Illmatic, how him and Nas, connected, and the fact that back then they weren't even really looking for no deal like that. It kind of just happened.
Well, you want to know what's funny? Not to bring it up, Jay-Z spoke to this around Reasonable Doubt, and A and Math kind of spoke to it too, and they was like, yo, like, if you was out in the street, like the street dudes was the ones that really had the money and be like, hey, rapper, kick a little rhyme for me. And then, like, asserting themselves on the food chain. The hustler in the hip hop culture, like, remember when LL's talking about Supreme Team?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, no, that's how it really was. It's like, no, the hustlers ran the streets, not the rappers. You know what I'm saying? The rappers were there for literally for entertainment. For the street dudes, it was really getting to the money and living the life that the rappers was talking about. That's why G-Rap is so important. It's like, no, G-Rap was rapping and living that life. So was Rakim to a degree. You feel what I'm saying? That was different.
Yeah, because Eric B was there. Yeah, I mean, I think the
Supreme
thing
Team.
is too, and I think we look at it through a modern lens, but at that point, we're talking about 92, 93. There's only a few guys in hip hop that had actually made careers out of it. You know what I mean? You had the
No,
Run DMCs, and then they kind of had come and gone at that point, respectfully. But as far as the longevity side of it, who had really displayed longevity in hip hop around 93? You just got LL Cool J, to be honest.
I'm about to say it's not even a longevity thing, Mike. It was a money thing too. How many dudes are walking around rich off rap from '93?
No, you're right.
Nas and Big have both talked about, their early days about how like a lot of the dudes that they looked up to when they used to see him in the street was fucked up in the pocket.
Yeah. No, that's real.
These dudes
Michael
didn't have
Williams.
money like that. Rap didn't become like when you're seeing the way rappers live now. It wasn't like that when we was kids. It's like so when A is talking about it, it's like no, I was getting to the money.
Yeah.
Like rap was I did for fun
Michael
because there
Williams
wasn't
with
money
this.
in rap like
And
that.
you know what? That's even more, incredible. The guys were able to make the material that they made when they didn't even think that there was a level of financial gain that was on the other end.
Like think about what A is talking about when A is like, and listen to this because we're gonna talk about Andre real quick with it because his name got brought up during it, and I thought it was a more striking point of the interview. When A is sitting up there talking about, yeah, like I had done a few verses, but then I had to do an album. He's like, so 12 tracks, three verses. I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, yeah, that's 36 verses.
Mm-hmm.
That's different to stepping in the booth and doing a Life's a Bitch verse, doing a little back and forth with Nas in the studio. I'm like, no, that's different. And A spoke to how different it was. It's hard.
I'm not, listen, I am by no stretch of the imagination Andre 3000 on the mic. But I will tell you from experience, when I was in a group or whenever we would pull up and just feature on somebody's stuff, it was so much easier to just go do a 16 than sit in there coming up with a whole song yourself, having to come with 316, it's a whole different ball game. And I'm not sitting here saying that, you know, everybody's done it masterfully. But what I will say is, for the ones who have done it masterfully, you can't put somebody who's never done it in the same lane as them. You can't. You can't.
Hey, Mike, I'll tell you what. When my crew used to get down, because everybody had their solo projects and group projects, Mike, I used to get on other niggas' shit for fun.
Right.
Like, my shit was serious to me. Because they'd be like, damn, why Coop be all serious when he be doing his songs and stuff? And then I get on their verses and I'd flex. But that's because I was having fun. I didn't take it that serious.
Right.
Because to just come to the studio and write one verse when you're talented, it ain't shit, Mike. I'm
exactly.
Sorry.
It shouldn't be. Michael Williams with the super chat says, "Does Reasonable Doubt beat the Blueprint in a track for track verses?" I think it does, because the Blueprint has those holes in them. I mean, just for shits and giggles, what does Renegade run up against?
Coming of Age.
Does it? Well,
yes.
Renegade wins that one. That's about the only. That's about the only W to get on that album.
Can't Knock the Hustle's better than The Ruler's Back. I still think Politics as Usual is better than The Takeover, just in a vacuum for a song.
I agree with you.
Brooklyn's Finest is better than Izzo. Dead Presidents is better than Girls.
Yeah.
Feeling It's better than Jigga That Nigga. The Evils and You Don't Know is the only real tough matchup, because those are track 6.
And You Don't Know wins that, but not by a lot.
Not by much. 22 twos versus Hola Ho Vito is 22 twos.
Yeah.
I love Heart of the City. I still think Can I Live is better than Heart of the City. It's like, no, Jay's not. Yeah.
Yeah, that's tough. And I love Heart of the City. I'm going to give that to Heart of the City, but I'm not mad at it going the other way.
I
mean, I think both of them are top 10 Jay songs, personally.
No.
No, I'm not mad at it.
So I keep one eye open like CBS. No.
He's rapping better. He's rapping better on Can I Live. But I think...
I'm going to tell you the truth. I love Heart of the City, but I do think it's slightly overrated, Mike, and I don't have it in my top 10 Jay-Z songs.
CJ Kid with the super chat says, "I watched that old Aquemini Celebration video. I always felt the ATLians was their best album. Over the years, I feel more people favor it from XV to Sheena to Big Pooh. Why do you think guys feel that is?" I think that people like who they are as a group on ATLians more than who they are as a group on Aquemini. I think they had the most chemistry as MCs on ATLians.
That's their rapping ass rapper album.
Right.
So
it's their boom bap album.
Towards the rapping ass rapper album. Like, Southern Playalistic is a Southern rap album and a genre breaking album. Aquemini is a masterful, just like piece of work, period. ATLians is rapping ass rap album.
Right. If you're an Outkast fan for their rap skills, ATLians is going to be your go-to.
Speaking of which, Mike, a lot of people have been making some flute jokes, and I just want to let you know that I make better flute jokes. Listen to the songs that I've got, Mike. You want to hear my flute jokes right quick?
Go ahead.
Follow the flute. Light as a flute, Mike. Flute without balls. Flute tank playing ain't nothing to fuck with. My flute. All of the flutes. And my favorite, all flutes down. Like Heather B, all locked down, all flutes down. Yeah. Back to the normally scheduled program, Mike.
Well, speaking of which, what all the AZ have to say about Andre and his flute album? And can you speak to that?
When niggas was sitting in the chairs and they heard it was an album that was going to be like flute playing, niggas was literally like, "Are you serious?"
Oh, Flutes and Liquor. I like that one. Go ahead.
Not better than all flutes down. All flutes down. Because that's what he needs to do. He needs to put the goddamn flute down, pick up a microphone. But all jokes aside, Mike, Hoffa was like, "Nah, we ain't even about to talk about that." Like, the respect left the room. You feel what I'm saying? Because you have to understand, and if you listen to how A is talking, A was just like, A's the type of dude, he's not going to disrespect nobody, so he just got quiet. but he spent a lot of time talking about the business, and this is how niggas feed their family, and this, that, and the other.
Right.
And that's what I mean about how it's disrespectful in a sense. It's like, no, you got cats that's living and dying by this, and it's like, and dudes was like, are you serious? Like, it's a flute album? It's like, yeah, fam. Imagine how we feel in the A. Like, the New York dudes was like, what the fuck is this nigga on? You know what I'm saying? Because it's not cool, Mike. That's what I'm saying. It's disrespectful to the culture that bred you and made you wealthy. You know what I'm saying? Like, Hoffa literally said, we don't give that airtime here. Like, the end. As in, stop talking about that nigga right now.
I don't want to give away too much of the Gip conversation that I had, but I got some level of clarity from it. What I will say, though, is...
What'd you say, Mike? You got some level of clarinet? I'm sorry, clarinet?
What I will say, though, is, like I said when we first did an episode about this, he's not our guy when it comes to this rap shit. We wanted him to be that, and he's not that. And so he never really asked to be that on the mic either. He never went out there and pulled a Kendrick Lamar and said that, you know, he was going to be this, this, and this on the mic. He never was that. And I think everybody gave him these accolades with, you know, based on his performances on these great Outkast records and his great performances on Outkast records and other records. But I think that the disrespect only comes in is when he gets put ahead of people who do take this culture to heart and put in the work. And he hasn't put in that level of work.
Like AZ, like think about
like
this.
Like an AZ, yes. He shouldn't be put ahead of somebody like an AZ. Now that's where the disrespect comes in. And that's where I feel like it's most respectful to just say that he's inapplicable for some of these lists. It's just what it is.
Yeah.
Not even some of these lists. An individual list. He's not applicable for an individual list.
Like, think about this. AZ has pretty much a 21-year-old with no knowledge of album making made a platinum single in 1995. Like, it's not that just Sugar Hill is a great song. It's a platinum selling single. And so it is disrespectful to put Andre ahead of a guy like A, who literally out the gate made a classic album from the jump and made a platinum single from the jump. You know, a 3-verse song.
Yeah.
By himself. Like, it's not like his hit records are with Nas. Like, Phone Tap is probably the biggest record they did together, and we just found out from the interview that was AZ's idea.
Reggie with the super chat.
I'm not giving the flutist over. No. AZ came up with the Phone Tap idea. AZ made Sugar Hill, made Do or Die. He was better than straight from then, in my mind now. When I go back and look at it, it's like, so no.
Hey, I'm not mad at that. Reggie with the super chat says, Willie D is very upset for not being invited to the Hip Hop 50 events, along with Scarface to perform hits that he co-wrote for Ghetto Boys. Yeah, that was a while back. Hopefully he's gotten past that. What I was going to say, though, I didn't like when people would try to put Black Thought and Andre in the same conversation because Black Thought technically didn't have a solo album, but Black Thought has solo works within the Roots. You know what I'm saying? Like, Never Do What They Do is him. And if we've ever seen, you know what I mean, Andre even exhibit any of those things like Tribe used to do. Phife had Butter. Even Big Boy has West Savannah. Q-Tip has Bonita. Dre never did that on any of those cast records. And the fact that people treat him like he has an OPP out there like Tretch does is wild.
I was about to say, Mike, if you actually go through the Roots catalog, I'm pretty certain I'd say about 35 to 40% of the songs are solo Thought records.
Yeah. It's not the same.
At least a third of the catalog is solo Thought records. So that's my whole thing about Thought making a solo album. It's like, oh no, I know you can get on the mic and go solo because I've been listening to you go solo on Roots albums my whole damn life.
That's like somebody saying Chuck D ain't got a solo album or something, even though he does. But let's just say, hypothetically, all his works was with Public Enemy. That's enough for me. You know what I mean? You got Welcome to the Terror Dome. That's Chuck D. You got Fight the Power. That's Chuck D. You know what I'm saying? You got Rebel Without a Pause. That's Chuck D. Even though Public Enemy's name is on it, but when it comes to Cass, Dre is really a group member. He has no individual mic performances. And I want to hear about the one song where it's like 8 minutes long where he's rapping about his whole life. I'm talking about three verses in a hook.
Like 4 minutes long. And quite frankly, we watch Eminem go on consistent lyrical riffs like that on almost every one of his projects. He has a song where he just goes for like 3 or 4 minutes. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
Right.
nah, like you MC for a living. You better be able to rap for 3 or 4 minutes straight. It shouldn't be some mantra or something to hang your hat on. You know what I'm saying?
CJ Kid with the super chat says,
I
go ahead.
spent 3 minutes telling the story backwards, Mike.
Yeah, facts. CJ Kid with the super chat says, does it bother you guys that for the whole region of the South, that Andre is paired with Scarface as the two GOATs, like how Jay and Nas are paired here? Yeah, it does. It really does. Because not that I don't love Dre and not that I don't love Cass, or that I think that Dre is super skilled, he hasn't put in an iota of the work that Scarface has put in throughout his career. Coop, you went away for a second.
Mike, it's not that I have a problem with it, Mike, because I'm part of the problem. Because most of my life, I've put them and said they're the two best MCs that ever came out of the South. And I would give the nod to Scarface because, he actually made an album. But this is where, how I changed your mind about the Jay and Nas thing. You're the one that changed my mind about the Andre thing. And you're like, well, what solo material, Coop, should he even be considered to be in the top 5?
Yeah.
And every time you say, Mike, you understand how many times you saying that to me live in front of everybody, replays in my head. Mike, I'm traumatized. I'm going to need a therapist about this one day. It's like, Armand, would you like to talk about the Andre 3000 problem? It's like, as a matter of fact, I would. I'm traumatized.
I could make more excuses for it if, let's just say there were 10 other MCs that were in Andre's position. There aren't any. Anybody that we talk about in hip-hop has a song by themselves with 2 or 3 verses.
Like, how about this? It's like Master Ace, Mike.
Yeah.
Like, that's where it gets disrespectful. It gets disrespectful when you put him ahead of somebody like Master Ace, AZ. Even him being ahead of a Redman and a Method Man, Mike. It's like, nah, fam. Being ahead of C, Mike.
Exactly. I'm sure if someone was in the studio with Dre and they're like, look, man, we got to record a solo rap record or whatever. Or let's just say you're an A&R for an Andre project. He'll go in the studio and be like, literally, I've never done this before. How do I do this, this, and this? And we're talking about basic stuff that MCs do from the gate. Like you said, AZ had to make Sugar Hill from the gate. He made Sugar Hill, what was that, nearly 30 years ago, 28 years ago now? And now we have somebody who's been in the game 30 years himself, because Players Ball just celebrated 30 years, who has literally never made one song where it's just him rhyming.
Forget Sugar Hill, Mike. Like, Andre doesn't have a Rather Unique. The Pete Rock joint, like, he doesn't have a lyrical exhibition like Rather Unique, Mike.
No. Jermaine Johnson with the super chat says, AZ called our bluff in a Big Fuel podcast interview. The interviewer asked for Nas AZ Cormega album. AZ responded, are y'all the fans going to actually buy it? You want stuff, but then don't support it. Hey, man, it's like people asking us about the yearbook. I'm down to do it.
Low-key was like, when people was talking about the money and the math on the table, he was like, you think Nas can't put that together? He pretty much saying it's like the dude that's at the top of the food chain in their music circle. Like, if he thought it would be getting done and be worthwhile, it would get done. And here's where A is right, is like, oh no, like they think like businessmen and you have to respect them as businessmen because
it's their careers. Business. Yeah.
That's why there's a firm reunion song on King's Disease 1, but why there will be no firm reunion album. What about Nas's numbers? If he's the star of the group, what about his numbers speak to the fact that they should do a firm album? Because they don't. So it won't.
And basically, man, with the firm, even though I think it'd be dope, we've already seen how the public treated the firm when it came out the first time, right? So who's to say that if they do put this together again, the niggas will shit on it again, even
I
if it
mean,
is good.
hey, A also spoke to the math not being right on the first Firm album, which went platinum.
Yeah.
He was like, financially, it didn't make sense in 1997. You think about to make sense in 2023, Mike?
Well, like Glove told you, too many logos on the CD.
Yeah, I mean, A said it during their interview. He's like, there's too many cooks in the kitchen. It's
Mm-hmm.
like, okay.
OG Winston with the super chat says, if not 3K, Scarface and who would be at the top? I mean, to be perfectly honest with you guys, I mean, it has to be Wayne and Tip.
It's Scarface, first of all.
No, I'm just saying.
Like,
He said without Scarface or Dre.
uh, yeah, Tip and Wayne.
Yeah.
I still have Scarface over all of them.